Okay, so first tell me the definition of information system. Anybody?
It include people and telecommunication. What is it?
Anybody? What is information system?
I think that the system give you the information organized and readable.
Organize information. Yes, information system. So it's a combination of two words, information and system. We know the information, the organized data. And system, we know we have input, processing, output, and feedback. So organized information has been taken out for some purpose. So it means there is some purpose. Information system is going to solve some problem, right? Every information system, using information system, you can achieve, you can complete, you can accomplish your goals. Okay. So today we will start some specialized systems. The first one is knowledge management systems, an organized collection of people, procedures, software, databases, and devices to create, store, share, and use organization knowledge and experience. I think we discussed this. Can you give me any example for knowledge management system? Every organization have nowadays. You want to use the PeopleSoft and you don't know, so from where you can get the knowledge? Anybody? Do you know FAQs?
Frequently asked questions?
Yes. This is an example of knowledge management system where the people can ask, okay, and can get the answer of their questions from the experience, from the knowledge of. It says, the last word, use the organization, knowledge and experience. Organization knowledge, so that the people can take help from these things. Nowadays, the chatbot. Do you know the chatbot?
Yes.
So it is for, what is the purpose of chatbot?
To answer question.
To answer the
Question.
Answer the
questions.
easy question or the most asking from people.
Yes. And nowadays, every second website have this, ability. So this is called the knowledge management systems, where you can use the organization knowledge to solve the customer's problem, right?
Yes.
Next thing we have artificial intelligence. I think you're familiar with this name, at least. It's very famous and common nowadays. Attempts to have the computer system take on the characteristics of human intelligence. Applications include robotics in natural language processing. So I hope all of you can give me some examples for this. AI.
Yes, teacher. The vacuum cleaner, the intelligent vacuum cleaner.
Intelligent
vacuum cleaner.
Vacuum cleaner.
Yes.
Okay, that's fine. Autopilot, auto driving car.
Yes. Also.
Can you give me an example from health sector? in hospital?
There's
Yes,
AI
there's some
doctor.
robot.
Watson.
They doing the surgery from
Yes, very good example.
yes,
Nowadays,
with the biorobots using the 5G, I guess.
yes, absolutely right. And in games, we have intelligence nowadays. In applications like Siri, you know the Siri,
Yes.
Yes.
it's artificial intelligence.
Yes, of course.
Okay, so making the machine intelligence same like human. Okay, so that the machine can learn from the environment and can take decisions based on their knowledge. Okay.
Yeah.
So virtual reality simulation of a real or imagined environment that can be experienced visually in 3 dimensions. I think we discussed this slide. You remember the example here. Can you give me the virtual reality example?
Like in games,
In games, yes, you have the glasses.
the
which
class
is
for
called,
VR, yeah, called
Yeah.
VR
Yes.
or virtual reality.
yes, Oculus
Slides.
Rift, I guess. Its name is Oculus Rift.
Rift.
Yeah. So this is completely virtual environment. When you wear this, so you cannot interact with the real environment. So another reality is augmented reality, AR in short, where you
It's
can,
the opposite.
yes, so you
Yes.
can interact with both environment, virtual and the real environment. And the example for that is the Google Glasses.
Yes. Also the for the furniture in IKEA, you can put your
Right.
sofa or something like that, and using your phone to put the virtual thing in the reality, and
Yes,
using
yes.
the exact measurement for the sofa or your bed or something like that.
Yes, absolutely right. You know, there was a game where you can. There's
So
a real-
like in Snapchat, you can use your characteristic or character, cartoon character. You can put it in your life
okay,
using
if
your phone.
you can interact with the real environment.
Yes.
Okay, the virtual reality is completely virtual. In augmented reality, you have both environment in that. Okay, moving to the next slide. It says about systems development. You are going to make a system, you are going to develop a new software. So what are the steps, what are the stages in that? That is called actually the life cycle of software. So system development is the activity of creation or modifying business systems. The main stages are as follows. So you are going to create a system. So there are different activities. It's not like that you are a developer, you're a programmer, and you will sit and you will start creating your software. There must be a sequence of activities, complete chain of activities that you must follow, and this is called the life cycle of a software. Okay, did you get my point, guys? Are you with me?
Yes, doctor.
Okay, the very first step is system investigation. Second one is system analysis, system design, system implementation, system maintenance, and review. Okay, guys, tell me so we have a project tea, making tea. Chai, chai.
Okay.
So what are the steps for that?
Boil water, maybe.
Boiling water.
Getting a cup, putting a tea leaf in it.
Now see, the very first heading, system investigation, where a clear understanding of the problem to be solved is developed. So first you have to think about this. You have to investigate how to make a tea. What are the steps? What are the requirements? You're getting my point?
Yes.
Okay, this is the investigation phase. The second one is analysis, where the problems and opportunities of the existing systems are defined. Now you will, refine your requirement. In the first investigation, you investigated what are the actually required. Can you do this or you cannot do this? Okay. After that, you have to find out what are the problems, what exactly required in the system. This is your analysis. Okay. And then system design, the maps, the processes, what process you are going to follow. You will design it on a paper or in a software. Now, after the design, you have a clear picture. Like you're making a house. You need a map for this, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You will do this investigation, you will do the analysis, you will see your budget, how you are going to do this. Then you will design for that. You will contact to the architecture engineers, they will design a map for you. And then you will start designing your
House. Your house.
And that is the implementation phase. Or you are making tea, actually you are making tea, that is the implementation phase. Okay, like you need some crockery, you need some milk, you need tea, you need sugar, all these things you are going to execute your design. Okay, and
Like in the programming coding?
Yes, like coding, the real implementation.
Good.
Okay.
Yes.
And then you will, in the end, once it is done, so your testing phase, or if there is some changes required, will come to play. You have your tea is good or bad. Your house, you have built the house is according to the plan, or you need some modification, you need changes or not. And same applies for the software systems. That there are some bugs, you need to add new requirements. The system is working fine or not. Okay. For software system, information system, I repeat again, the very first step is system investigation. You need to understand the system. Is it feasible or not? Is it possible or not? Okay, you are going to investigate.
Oh.
And you will get all the requirements from the customer. Customer will give you everything, whether you need or you do not need. Am I right?
Yes.
Are you with me, guys?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Now in second phase, system analysis, you have to refine your requirements. You have to change it into specification. What exactly required for the system? Okay. Now you can understand the difference between two steps, the first and second. In first, you will grab everything. In second, you will refine the requirement. That is actually required. Because customer don't know anything. You are the technical person, you are the analyst. So you will define that, refine the requirements. And then system design, you will design the system which determines how the new system will work to meet the business need defined during the system analysis. There are some technical documents, there are some figures, designs, images, technical diagrams that you are going to make. And the blueprint of the house. The same applies here for the software. You also need a blueprint. This is called design document. Okay.
Okay. What about the system maintenance and review?
Yes, I'm coming to that. So once you have completed your system, implemented your system, okay. After that, the last step is testing. After completing the test, after completing the task, you must test that it is working fine or not. Your software is ready, but it is not addressing or not fulfill the requirement of the customer. Then what you would do? What would you do with the software? Is it a good software?
No.
No.
Not at all. So you have to ensure this thing, because customer is the most important thing for your company. You have to make him happy. You have already taken a money from the customer, and you have to deliver the software in time. So now after implementation, it fulfilled the requirements. Is there any bugs? Is there any problems? Anything that you want to add? Anything you want to remove? So you need to conduct the review and inspection. This is called testing. Maintenance means that you need some changes or not, according to requirement. As it says, maintenance and review checks and modifies the system so that it continues to meet changing business needs, because the requirements always keep changing. Your customer is sometimes don't know anything, and later on they come to know, no, we need this. So you need to change the system. So all these inspection, reviews, testing will be conducted in this phase. Got the point?
Yeah. we
Yes,
got
very
it.
good.
So it's clear.
Yeah, clear.
So these are the generic steps. You know, in every problem you face, any problem in your daily life. So how you are going to solve that? So there must be some sequence of activities like this. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're talking about information systems. So when you need to develop an information system, so you need to perform these things. Otherwise, what would happen if we are not following these steps? What happened?
We got another problem.
The system will fail.
How a system will fail?
Make a system.
You know what problem will arise? If the new programmer will come, he will not understand the system.
Yeah.
Because there is no document, there is no steps involved in that. You did not follow any standards. Okay, this is the biggest problem in that. So there are many. Yes.
What is the difference between system analysis and system design?
Look, analysis basically on requirements. Customer give you the requirements. You have the document. So in analysis phase, you will refine your requirements. What is actually required?
Okay.
It is a document. It is the requirement document. Whereas system design is different thing. You will design, just like a blueprint. You have diagrams, right?
Yes, yes, yes.
So same applies here. For software, you must develop a design document that includes different diagrams. For example, unified modeling language. We have use case diagram. We have activity diagram. We have class diagram. We have system sequence diagram. Hundreds and thousands of different type of diagrams. So these are all representing the design of the software. So after that, you're going to implement this design in some language, like in C#, Java, whatever you are using. Okay?
Okay.
Okay, moving next. This is the same sequence of steps as you can see. System investigation, first step, you need to understand the problem. Okay. Second step, system analysis, determine what must be done to solve the problem. System design, the solution is planned out. System implementation, the solution is built or brought and replaces the old system. And the last is maintenance and review, the new system is evaluated, means testing. And now you can see the arrows are coming from top to bottom, and also everything is connected with the arrow that is going back to the start. What does it mean? It is a loop. Anybody can explain this loop?
Loop like and go again and again. Right?
Why they are going again and again?
Because it's like steps you have to do it.
Like the condition.
Step by step.
Condition, why condition?
We don't have
Yeah.
condition here.
Why they are going back?
To repeat
Because
action.
there's always a problem.
To repeat to repeat the action with different system, yeah, or different program.
No, look, we are making a
For
system.
many programs.
For example, we are in system design phase. Okay.
Yes.
And here in this design, we find out that there is some problem. There are some requirements are missing.
Okay.
Okay, so then we will go back to the system investigation. We will add up here the new requirement in system analysis again, and then we will come back here again system design.
As it's like an or an update.
Yes, it is like an update.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
In every phase, there is a chance that you can find a problem.
So you have to go back
So you have to go back, you have to update the previous phases.
and move on.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Doctor, if there are no problem here, a system
There-
analysis or system design.
So everything goes smoothly, straightforward.
Good.
Okay.
Yes.
But it will happen only in dreams. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Next topic is security, privacy, and ethical issues. This is a very important and very hot issue nowadays, and very problematic issue for a whole world. Security, privacy. Security and privacy fears persist with computer users. Many people experience cyberbullying. You know the cyberbullying?
Yeah, that's it.
Yes.
It's very common nowadays, on social media, okay, at home, school, and workplaces. Many criminal gangs are trying to steal financial information online. This is another issue. I remember in Pakistan, there's the hackers hack the credit cards of many people, and they take out the money from that. And that was, the data was sold out in
Black
in,
market.
in Chinese market somewhere. Okay, and hackers were sitting in the Russia, and they stole money from Pakistan. Just imagine how. So this is a very a critical problem nowadays from security point of view. The data and information is very important nowadays. It's just like an asset now. Like you have a house, you are taking care of your house, your car, so you have to take care about your data information as well. Okay, so all organizations are, we have seen the Facebook, the Twitter, YouTube, they have been faces a lot of legal issues in the court because of this data organization. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, we were discussing about online steal financial information. Okay, it's very common. The companies are facing this problem. In our university, we used to receive many spam emails. They try to get the information about username and password. Sometimes we received from the president of the email from the president of the university, and it's very common nowadays. So these are the issues. So some IS professionals believe that computers may create new opportunities for unethical behavior. Unethical investors have placed false rumors or incorrect information about company on the internet and tried to influence its stock price to make a money. Yes, it's very common. Sometimes, the rumors, we discussed this, they publish a wrong information about some company, and they try to, create a bad reputation about the company so that the market share goes down and up. So companies can be affected. So it is very common, especially in the stock exchange market. To protect against these and other threats, security and control measures must be installed. So every company, every organization must have some, the firewalls against all these kind of threats, which is related to security, privacy, and ethical issues. And many organizations are suffering from, because we do not have proper laws to handle these kind of things. But now all countries are making, try to improve their laws so that they can control all these things. And we have seen in the past, like, Mark Zuckerberg, the Facebook owner, he presented himself against the lawmakers. The Google, the CEO of Google, he answers the many questions. You guys know these things?
Yeah, about selling
Yeah,
data.
doctor.
So this is because of selling of data and privacy issues, ethical issues. Okay. So whenever you are developing a new information system, you must take care about these things: security, privacy. Some companies, they install the cameras in the office to see the employees. Do you think it is right or wrong?
I think it's wrong.
Right.
Well, we have a difference of opinion about this. Some are saying it is right to increase the performance, but some are saying ethically it is not right. Everyone has its own privacy, and we must take care about that. This is the
Privacy
perspective.
at home, not in work.
Sorry?
In work, you must be.
Yes, I got your point. Yes, you're right, but there are some few things that you cannot share with everything, even with the related. For example, one guy, he has some medical issues, so you must take care about his privacy. There's one guy who has, anything that is related to the social aspect, you must respect that thing.
Yes, yes.
Okay, and some modern companies are very strict, and they are very strict about these. They cannot break the privacy laws. And some middle-level companies, they don't care about these kind of things as well. So as I told you, it's an emerging field. So organizations and countries even are working with the new laws about these kind of things. Okay. So what are the measures we have to control these kind of things, especially with the security related? So you can see the firewalls you are familiar with. Antivirus software, you are also familiar with this. Password protection. So nowadays, there are different kind of password protections. If you create account on Akshar, they will ask you so many things, right?
Right.
Yeah.
What should be the size? There should be a digit or character. There should be a special character. There should be something about length. So there are many ways to protect the password. Physical protection, a security guard outside the room where the servers are located, for instance. Yes, in some countries, in some companies, they have this, where the servers are very important because all the data on the server. And, in movies, in Hollywood movies, I think you guys have noticed these things. In many movies, they try to, steal the data from the server rooms, from special offices.
Yes.
Okay.
We notice that.
There sometimes you can see a great, different level of security to protect that data. Even then, the hero can do this, can break through that. So yes, most of the companies are also looking for these physical protections using the guards. Security procedures, user must change password every month. For instance, yes, security policy. Here in our college, we have this policy. We used to receive the email after 1, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks that please update your password or update your information on the system on daily basis. Okay.
Okay, Doctor,
Yes,
can
doctor.
you explain again slide 24?
Slide number 24.
Yes.
You should ask the question at that time, otherwise, this will create the distraction. Anyhow, so what you want to understand here, these are the phases for the system development. whenever you are going to develop a new system, a new software, new information system, so you have to follow these steps. The step number 1 is a system investigation, where you will understand the problem, you will investigate that you can complete this system or not, what are the requirements, what are the problems, what is actually, why you are making this system. You have to find this in this phase. System analysis, that how you are going to solve the problem. What are the steps for that? System design, you will design the complete solution of a problem. And system implementation, you will create a system. And system maintenance, you will test the system, the testing. Anything you want to ask me in this?
Why it is repeat in system investigation?
Why?
It is repeat in system
It is not repetition.
investigation.
It is not repetition. System investigation means you are going to find why you are making this system. Okay, what are the requirements? Analysis, system analysis is the deep inside of the system. You will understand the system and you will create a sketch how you are going to solve the problem step by step. Okay.
Okay.
You see the name investigation and analysis versus analysis. They're two different things.
Okay.
In investigation, you will investigate, you will find the many things, and then you will perform the analysis what is actually required.
Okay. Thank you, doctor. Yes.
Thank you. Okay, so these control measures are very straightforward. I think all of you are familiar with these things. Am I right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Now we are moving towards the challenges, the global challenges, international level. Changes in society as a result of increased international trade and cultural exchange, often called globalization. Like in our college, there are many faculty members from different countries, right? Even the students from different countries. So this is called globalization. Internationally, you are exchanging the culture. Has always had a big impact on organization and their information system. Now think with respect to the information system. So very first challenge, there's one organization and it has information system. So what are the challenges for that? The first one is cultural challenges. Countries and regional areas have their own culture. The people living in Makkah, Medina, Riyadh, or in the Eastern Province, they have even different cultures in terms of food, or especially in terms of food, right?
Yes.
Am I right?
Yes.
The kabsa you are eating here, maybe the different in Riyadh, or maybe the different in Makkah, the way they cook.
Yes.
Am I right?
Yes, right.
Okay, that's fine. So in culture, there are many things: the language, food, their dressing, the way they greet, the way they cry, the way they dance. Everything is different, country-wise. The culture in Saudi Arabia is different than the culture in USA, than the culture in Australia, than the culture in Germany, in China. So they have a different culture. So now the people from different cultures, they are working in one place. So there is a challenge, right?
Yes.
The way they perceive the thing, the way they understand the thing will completely different. Here I am using the PeopleSoft. Maybe if PeopleSoft in Arabic, so it's difficult for me. Right?
Yes, you are right.
So this is called language challenge. Okay?
Okay.
Time and distance challenges. Yes, the time in USA is different than here. And the companies there's one office in Eastern Province, one office in Riyadh, one office in Dubai, one office in USA, one office in China. So their time and distance will really affect the work, how you are going to manage your information system there. Okay, this is one of the challenge, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Infrastructure challenges. High quality electricity and water might not be available in certain part of the world. Telephone services, internet connections, skilled employees might be expensive or not readily available. It's a very common challenge. You know, you're one office in Nigeria, in African countries, one office in Asian countries, and one office in USA, and one office in Saudi Arabia. So their facilities, their infrastructure will always be different. Even within the Saudi Arabia, if you see, maybe in Abha, you do not have very fast internet. Am I right?
Yes, true.
So this is going to be a challenge. You have an office there. Or maybe the skilled employees. This is, every time from Canada, from Australia, New Zealand, from even USA, they called for migration. People apply for migration there, right? And they have some certain criteria to get the immigration in Canada, in Australia, and New Zealand. You have to fulfill the points. So why they are offering this immigration? Why they need to bring the people from other countries?
To get skilled employees.
Yes, to get the skilled employees, because they have shortage in that.
Yes.
And in Saudi Arabia, maybe from the next 10 years or next 5 years or maybe next 2 years, they need maybe the 20,000 and 30,000 cyber security expert in Saudi Arabia. So maybe they have only 5,000. So what they will do? They will try to bring from other countries, right?
Yes.
So these are the infrastructure challenges. Infrastructure means you have skilled employees, people. You need the hardware, you need the buildings, you need the area, you need a lot of things, all included under the umbrella of infrastructure. So, for example, we have universities. So university have a big land here. We have old campus, we have new campus, we have one in maybe Dammam. So all they will be connected through one information system. So these are the challenges, the infrastructure challenges that they have to face while developing a information system. You got my point?
Yes,
we can.
Yes.
Currency challenges. Of course, when you are doing a business between two countries, so you will face this. The value of different currencies can vary significantly over time, making international trade more difficult and complex. That's why, most of the companies, most of the business, they do in dollars, right?
Yeah. Yes.
So it will make easy for them. It is because international currency now. So their rate, otherwise, the rate goes up and down because the dollar is a stable currency there. Okay. That's why people try to do these things. But yes, currency will also play a important role. If you are getting salary in dollars in one country and you are getting salaries in maybe Real in other countries, so this will also create a complexity between them from budget point of view. And nowadays we have a virtual environment, so people are sitting from all over the world. Is that okay, guys?
Yes, that's
Yes.
Yes.
So we have more challenges, product and service challenges. Traditional products that are physical or tangible or physical that you can touch, such as car or bicycle, can be difficult to deliver to the global market. Yes, if we bring the electric bus here in Saudi Arabia, so this will be a problem. Is there any problem from service point of view?
Yes.
Because from where you will find out the spare parts, from where you will find the technical staff for the service. So these are the challenges that you will face. Technology transfer issues. Most governments don't allow certain military related equipment and systems to be sold to some countries. Yes. USA have Patriot missiles. They sell to all over the world, and they have. I think there's one aircraft very famous. I think F-35 or something like that.
Yes, F-35.
I don't know what is exactly is it. And they US don't allow to sell it. They never sell to any country. Okay, the only US have that technology. No other country have.
No, I think Israel has this plane.
Yeah, the F-35 is Israel. You're right, but there's another. I forget the name. I think the only US have that. They did not transfer that technology.
Yeah, I mean.
Same applies. There are many things. For example, Su-400 from Russia, the anti-missile system. They used to sell it to different countries, but they never transfer the technology. So no other country can create that one.
Yes.
Okay. There is one in Pakistan. They have created the JF Thunder aircraft with the help of Chinese technology. But it means Chinese government have transferred the technology. So now they can create in their country. Okay?
Yeah, okay.
So the point here is to understand that you are creating an information system and your organization is spread into many countries. So you will face this technology transfer issue. Maybe some technology is not allowed in that country. You cannot work on that. So you will face issue in that. Okay?
Okay.
National laws. Yes, every country has its own laws. Saudi Arabia has its own laws about the cyber security, IT policy, from organization point of view, how to publish the information. So every Chinese have their own, USA have their own. So these laws also plays sometimes, create a problem for information system. All countries have set of laws that must be obeyed by citizen or organization operating in the country. Laws restricting how data enters or exit or country are often called trans-border data flow laws. They will allow, if you ask the data from US, maybe they will not allow you. But in some country, maybe you can get data easily.
Like Tor browser is prohibited in some countries.
Yes. Keeping track of these laws and incorporating them into procedures and computer system of multinational, transnational organization can be very difficult and time consuming, requiring expert legal advice. That's why every organization have, the advocates, they have the legal people, legal team to see all these things. I want to open a company in Saudi Arabia. Maybe here we have different laws as an expat. And if I want to open in US, different laws there. Am I right? But when you're creating the same system for both offices, one office in Saudi Arabia, one office in USA, you will face these national laws issues. Okay?
Okay.
Trade agreements, countries often enter into trade agreements with each other. Yes, this is another important thing. For example, we have Gulf states. We have Bahrain, UAE, Saudi Arabia, some other Gulf states. So maybe they have some agreement for trade. Same applies like we have European Union. In Europe, there are many countries. They have trade laws. It's different than others. Am I right?
Yes.
So these things will also play a role when you are creating an information system for your organization, and your organization is distributed, geographically distributed among different countries. Okay, so we discussed so far the global challenges. This is the end of the chapter number 1. Next we have summary. You guys can go through what we have discussed in this chapter, and it is all mentioned in the summary. Okay, any question, guys?
No, thank you.
Okay. Okay, guys, let's play Kahoot. You know the Kahoot? Dash controls computer operation. Time is up. Almost up. 3, 2, 1. So 21. So correct answer is system software. Starting with the computer operations. Okay, get ready for the next. Who's the first one? Ahmed Al-Arfaj. Now this car. Who is this car? Okay, get ready for the next question, guys. Process data is called as guys, come on. 8 people did the wrong answers. Process data is information. I was not expecting this. Okay, next. This car is going very fast. Dash information contains all the important facts. It is accessible, complete, economical, accurate. It is a complete, the keyword is all the important facts. Oh, Maghrabi is going fast now. Here is the car. Okay, a system is a set of elements that interact to accomplish goals and have inputs, processing, mechanism, output, and I want all correct answers for this. What is system? I hope all students will give the correct answer. Come on, guys. Input, processing, output, and feedback. Your performance is not good. Oh, hello is on top now. Okay, get ready for next question. Which of the following is an example of hardware? I hope this time I will get all correct answer. Even then we have 5 wrong answers. Touch screen is the hardware. Hello is going on top. Okay. Dash information is delivered when it is needed. Dash information is delivered when it is needed. When it is needed, so in question it is asking about the time. Information is delivered when it is needed. Okay, get ready for next. So today we will also start the chapter number 2. You can see the slides. So let's start. Chapter number 2 is about the information systems in organizations. So let's start the introduction to organization. Slides are visible, guys. You can see the slides, right?
Yes.
An organization is a formal collection of people and other resources established to accomplish a set of goals. So we are talking about the organization. What is organization? It is a formal collection of people and other resources established to accomplish a set of goals. For example, university is a organization. So people are working here, they have buildings, they have other resources, technological point of view, the budget point of view, financial point of view, and they have certain policies to accomplish a set of goals. So university have some goals, objective missions they have to achieve. So every organization have these things. An organization is a system, which means that it has input, processing mechanism, output, and feedback. So university is a system. Can you give me what is the input for the university?
The data of a student and
Yes, the student is the input for the university. And what is the processing mechanism?
Studying, teaching.
That they're studying here 4 years, 5 years.
Yes.
Okay, there are different mechanisms there. And what would be the output?
information of a student.
Graduated student.
Yeah, the grade.
Okay, and feedback. Where is the feedback?
Like
system of,
when the student go and get the job.
Yes, the student go and get the job and how they are performing there. So this is the feedback. Okay.
Yes.
So resources such as material, people, and money are the inputs. So other than students, we have admin staff also, we have teachers also, and the budget also. So these go through a transformation mechanism, the processing. The output from the transformation mechanisms are usually goods, services, which are of higher relative value than the input alone. Through adding value of what the organization attempt to achieve their goals. Yes, now we want to add value in the university. From university perspective, what do you think? How we can add the value? That the university can get benefit as an organization. How the university can get the benefit? Are graduated students. So what is how university is going to improve their processing mechanism? They will introduce the new technologies. They will hire good teachers, the new policies, accreditation internationally. Okay.
So they conduct the feedbacks.
Yes, if the good student will be graduated, they will get the feedback and they will get the more budget from the government. Right?
Yes.
Okay. So this is the general introduction about the organization, and we have a different type of organization we will study in coming slides. So every organization formally have these kind of the mechanism like the input, processing, output, and feedback. From business organizations, there is a very important term used, the value chain. The value chain is a useful tool for analyzing where and how this value gets added. The value chain is a series of activities. It means there are different steps that includes inbound logistic, warehouse and storage production, finished product storage, and outbound logistic means marketing and sales and customer service. So there are two things. One is inbound logistic and the other is outbound logistic. What is inbound? Like you have the company have the warehouse where they store their goods, production, how they create, and how the finished product stored. Okay, these steps involve in inbound logistic. What is outbound? Now your product is ready, you have to market and sales and customer service. Got the point? Did you get the point, guys?
Got it.
For example, the car. What are the steps involved in manufacturing the car? So there are different steps in a manufacturing area. They will collect the different parts and then they will combine them, and one by one they will create the final product, which is called the finished product, and they will store in a showroom, right?
That's right.
So this is called inbound logistic. Internally they are handle all these things, and outbound, after completing, you have to market. You have to hand it over to the sales department. Okay, like Abdul Latif Jameel have the showroom there. They market online and they sales, and they also provide the customer service, right?
Yeah.
So this is outbound logistic. So what is value chain? Is a series of activities. These all activities is actually called the value chain. Now you can see the figure here for the value chain here. We have raw material, processing raw material, and finished product. And on the top we have supply chain and customer relationship management. So these are all communicating with each other. And this is overall, considered as an organization system and environment. Okay. Now we have two more concepts, SCM and CRM. What are these? Supply chain management and customer relation management. These are two key parts of managing the value chain. Now, supply chain management helps determine what supplies are required for the value chain, what quantities are needed, how they should be turned into finished product and shipped to customers. Did you get this point, guys? Supply chain. You want to create a product and you need a different activities and you need a supply for those. Are you with me, guys?
Yeah, Doctor.
Yes.
If you are making, for example, mobile phone, so you need raw material. You need some spare parts. You will collect all these things and you will buy it from somewhere. Okay, then it will come into your manufacturing area and you will create your products through different steps. And your mobile phone will be ready, your product will be ready, and then you will hand it over to the customer. Right?
Yeah.
This is called supply chain management. Increasingly, supply chain management is accomplished using internet and B2B e-commerce. What is B2B?
Business to business.
Peer to peer. Business to business.
Business to business. Yes. So it says supply chain management can be done through B2B commerce. Why? Because you are making a product and you need some parts, you need some spare parts. So you will contact to other businesses.
Business to business. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Once your product have been handed over to the customer, so CRM come to play. What is CRM? Customer relationship management programs help a company manage all aspects of customer encounters, including marketing, advertising, sales, customer service, after the sale, and help retain loyal customers. How you can retain your customer? So more good customer service you get, so there's more chances that the customer will buy from you. Am I right?
Yes.
Yeah. Yes, that's it.
And there is also now, nowadays different techniques and for advertising they are using. I remember there's a one like if you buy the Toyota car, you will get 1 year free service. Okay, this is marketing and advertising tactics. Or retain the loyal points. Now the point system, every store is giving you a card, point system. You have Shukran card?
Yeah, of Center Point.
Yes.
Yes.
So what is the purpose of this card?
Yeah, if I bought, yeah, it looks like a coupon.
Yeah, if you purchase anything from certain store, they will add the points. Okay.
Yeah.
So they have a formula for maybe you have 1,000 points, so you can do the 100 real shopping free.
Yeah.
Okay. So what is the purpose here? They will give you the benefit just to retain you as a customer. So you will buy from them every time. Okay. So this is the part of CRM, customer relationship management. And then of course, if you have a problem in your or defect in your device or in your product, so you can return. What is the return policy? How they are, managing the return products. And in some countries they are very strict about this. Sometimes they give the new thing to the customer, even they are in the loss, because just to retain the relationship with the customer. Got it? Okay, now your organization structure. What should be the structure of organization? Refers to the organizational subunits and the way they relate to each other. An organization structure depends on its approach to management and can affect how it views and uses information system. There are, as I told you, different type of organization. So their structure, their information system, yes?
The screen is freezing. Yes, we can.
Yes.
Okay. So we're talking about, this is talking about the traditional organization structure. As I gave you the example of university or the normal, any organization, if you see, you have top management and you then moving down from top to bottom. We have president, we have different vice presidents, we have different vice deans, then we have different deanships here, then we have the colleges, then their dean, and then their head of department. So it's top to down. Okay. And in our university, you can see, you can observe, you can notice that there are many levels of authority, many levels of power. So nowadays, organizations are reducing these levels. Okay, and this is called as flat organizational structure. If you see here, you can see staff position in the start, then we have director, then we have different directors of different department and comes under this. Okay, and then we have further, this is top to down approach, the traditional approach. Is that clear, guys?
Yes, it's clear.
Yeah.
So next we have project organization structure. It is centered on major products or services. Each major product has its own marketing, finance and production department. So the project. One project can have different services in different departments, small units inside, and each unit has its own marketing, finance and own further units, so they don't have link with each other. Okay.
Okay.
Like your NEOM project. right? You know the NEOM project?
No.
Hey, in Saudi Arabia is very
Yes,
famous.
yes. NEOM.
Project NEOM.
Yes.
It's a project. So that project have further sub services or products, different small units, and they are working independently, not communicating with each other. Okay? And they have one project head, project director on the top. Team organization structure is centered on work teams or groups. So this is for the subunits, as you know, the teamwork and the groups. Teams can be small or large, permanent or temporary. For example, healthcare company could form small team to organize its administrators, doctors, and others to work with individual patients. For example, in our college, we have one team working on accreditation. We have one team working on research. We have one team working on scheduling. We have one team working on community service. We have one team working on student advising. Got it?
Yeah, got it.
Yes.
Okay, so here is the figure. This is the project organization structure. You can see we have a project director, and then we have the 3 different products or services. This is baby food project. This is nappy project. This is communication and stroller project. So all are independent. Okay, they are not communicating with each other. But these all 3 comes under this guy, the managing director of the company. He can communicate with everyone, but he's directly communicating here with this one. But they have different products and services, and every product has its own department, independent departments. Got the point? This is called project structure. Okay, this is the last slide for today's. I think it is enough. So we will complete in the next lecture, the few slides left. So this is called virtual organization structure. I think after pandemic, everybody knows what is virtual communication and all that stuff. What we are doing right now on Zoom is made up of individual teams, complete business units that work with other individual teams, complete business units in different geographic location. Keyword here is different geographic location. So you are sitting in other place, in a different place. I am sitting in a different place. All students are sitting in a different place. So this is called virtual organization structure. But if we talk about the business companies, some companies have like freelancing, right? You have created one company. One person is sitting in Saudi Arabia, the other one is sitting in US, the third one is sitting in other countries. They are geographically at different locations, and they start working together on one project. This almost always requires the use of internet. You need internet, telecommunication, facilities, communication. The people might never meet physically, which is why they are called virtual. Did you get this point, guys?
Yes, there's no physical office.
Yes. This is a growing trend nowadays, especially after pandemic. All organizations are establishing their virtual way of doing tasks. Okay, guys, it is enough for today.